Have you ever had the experience of coming back home and feeling that an object in your room was not quite in the same place as where you left it? Or maybe something you could have sworn you put in a certain spot wasn't there when you woke up, as if it had simply vanished off the face of the earth. Well, situations like these may not always be your mind simply playing tricks on you. The city of Kasuya lies on the edge of Fukuoka, the largest city on Japan's southern island of Kyushu. Kasuya City is pretty much the definition of a suburb, a residential area where people who work in Fukuoka live. In 2008, a 57-year-old man living in this region began noticing that sometimes food items would go missing from his fridge. And other times, the remote control for the television seemed to have moved ever so slightly. This was strange, as the man lived alone, had no pets, and rarely had any visitors. He had lived here for a while, and had never noticed these strange phenomena until recently. But ever since it came to his attention, it seemed to occur on an almost daily basis. At first, the man thought he was just imagining things. Maybe his mind wasn't as sharp as it was back in his younger days. But just to make sure, he began to keep track of what he had in his refrigerator. Doing so would reveal that food would indeed go missing almost every day. The amount of food in his fridge didn't match his records, and this happened on an almost daily basis, so it couldn't have been just a simple mistake on his part. And when I say food went missing, it wasn't like a random animal, like a rat, got into his fridge and partially ate something. Items would literally disappear entirely. Food going missing wasn't the only peculiar phenomenon occurring in his house. Every once in a while, during the night, the man would hear a bump, similar to a footstep, coming from somewhere within his house. For a while the man assumed it was just his house settling, as it was a wooden house made many decades ago. But as his senses become alert due to the series of strange events going on, he noticed it wasn't just these bumps that could be heard in the night. There would be small crinkling sounds, as if someone was moving a plastic bag, or maybe squeezing a plastic bottle. Other times there would be what he could swear sounded like a muffled cough. As these somewhat paranormal activities were observed regularly, the man becomes more and more paranoid. Maybe there was someone staking out his house during the night, causing the sounds, and breaking into his house during the day, stealing his food. But would someone go through all that trouble just to steal a small amount of food from a fridge? On top of keeping track of the contents in his refrigerator, he would also double and triple check all the locks on all the windows and doors every day, both before and after he went to work. But the locks were always just as he left them, with no other signs of someone breaking in. Maybe his house was haunted by some particularly hungry spirit that consumed food every night. The man couldn't decide which was worse. In any case, he decides to investigate the matter further. He purchased a motion-activated camera and installs it in a way that if anyone were to approach his refrigerator, it would automatically take a picture and send it to his cell phone. The man was pretty sure it would never activate, but put it there just for some peace of mind. However, when he leaves for work the next day, the camera would activate within hours of him leaving. To his horror, standing in front of the fridge was a thin woman with long hair. Now, this would be particularly terrifying to a Japanese person, as a thin woman with long hair is pretty much the stereotypical female ghost in Japanese culture. He immediately calls the police, telling them that someone, or something, is inside his house, going through his refrigerator. But when the officers arrive, they find no signs of a break-in, and everything seemed fine from the outside. When the man receives this report from the police, he finds it hard to believe, and requests the officers to meet him outside his house when he gets back from work, so they can check out his house together. Later that day, he meets the two police officers at his doorstep, and the three of them enter his house. The officers were skeptical at first, maybe suspecting that the man was not quite right in the head. But as it is their duty, they help him take a look around his house. As the officers had observed from the outside, nothing seemed to be out of the ordinary. There were no signs of a window being broken or forced open, nor any signs that someone had rummaged through the house looking for valuables in a hurry. Just in case, the officers go around each and every room, checking every closet. As one of the officers goes to the very back room and opens a sliding door to the closet, he literally screams in surprise. There was a woman staring back at him. Inside the closet with her were some plastic containers and bottles, indicating that it was her that had been stealing the man's food. After some questioning, the woman reveals her name to be Tatsuko Horikawa, aged 58. She was homeless and just so happened to wander into this man's house close to a year ago, when he forgot to lock the door when going to work. Ever since, she had been living in this closet. It was a Japanese-style rectangular closet, divided into top and bottom sections by a shelf in the middle. There was just enough room for her to lie down, and she had been using a futon that was inside as a mattress. Every morning, she would listen to the man leaving out the front door, and after waiting a while to make sure he wasn't coming back, would emerge from her lair. While the man was away, she would use the bathroom and treat herself to food from the refrigerator. Once Tatsuko had been living with the man for a while and had gotten accustomed to his daily schedule and routines, she would begin to take showers and even watch TV when she was confident the man would be away for a while. Because she showered almost every day, the police officers who found her claimed that she didn't appear to be homeless. If they saw her on the street, they would assume she was a regular woman who lived nearby. After enjoying her food and television time during the day, she would make sure to clean up before the man came home. She would wipe off every drop of water from the shower, make sure the toilet was spotless, and put everything back to where they were. Then she would grab some food and water for nighttime and disappear back into her closet. But Tatsuko wasn't perfect. Sometimes she'd leave objects in a slightly different spot from where they were, which is why the man felt something was off when he got home. And of course, there was no way to hide the fact that food was going missing from the fridge. She was lucky the man never checked the closet she lived in. It was in a room at the very back of the house, which she pretty much never entered. The footstep-like sounds the man heard at night were Tatsuko accidentally bumping into the walls of the closet while rolling in her sleep. The crinkling sounds were of her drinking plastic bottles or opening plastic bags. With the cause of the strange phenomena revealed, the man finally got some closure on what was going on in his house. And although it may not have been quite what he expected, at least he can rest easy knowing he is not going insane. When he heard of Tatsuko being homeless and living in his house as a means to survive, he must have felt pity, as he did not press any charges. Personally, I think it is amazing she was able to hide her presence for such a long time. She probably would have made a good roommate, considering how well she cleaned up after herself every day. What do you think of the story? Have you ever noticed something going missing from your house? Or objects like the remote controller for your TV moving around? If so, check your closets, or maybe under your bed. A big thank you to Korbachu and my other Patreons for supporting this channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. As always, thank you for watching until the end. Please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next episode. I'll see you next time.